Hey everyone, Finny here from Finny Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today with kind of my mid-month check-in / bi-weekly book ramblings. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've read so far in the month of August. And then I also wanted to talk with you about the SPSFC number 2, or I don't know, let's just call it SpaceFic for everything going forward because it's much easier to say. I don't know if it's the official phrasing of this. You know, you have for the fantasy version, you have Spiffbo, but doesn't sound good. And someone came up with SpaceFic and I'm loving this, so I'm just going with that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because this is going to be a lot of rambling. We should just start. Starting with the books that I've read. I think I've talked about Mercury Shadow already, that I've read as part of the Escapist book tour. Funny enough, this is also part of SpaceFic, not part of my team. We are not reading this. It's a different team that is reading that, at least during phase 1. But I read it as part of the, as I said, Escapist book tour. I'm linking the video where I actually talked about it. I think it was the last book ramblings, early August, where I talked about this book. And I also posted the review for that as part of the Escapist tour already on Instagram, so you can take a look at that. Highly recommend if you like kind of entertaining YA sci-fi with a touch of Star Wars. The other book that I've read, and I think, if I remember correctly, since the last book ramblings then also finished, is book 2 in the Risen Kingdom series, which is a Labyrinth of Science and Sorcery, and I still don't know if this is how you pronounce this word. But I tabbed my way through it and I loved this. This is such an amazing story. The two main characters are fantastic. I loved the premise. It's kind of like a steampunkish fantasy with airships and they're living on on floating islands. And they have some really interesting magic in here that is divided by bloodlines. The two main characters, they have an enormous chemistry. It's not a romance chemistry not at all. It's more like a father-daughter type of situation, even though he is not the father. But anyway, you'll learn that pretty early on in book 1 of the series, if you're interested in reading that. But it's an amazing what chemistry those two have. And he brought it on paper in, unbelievable. Like, his writing is amazing. The way he phrases things, the way he explains things and shows you the world and shows you the scene is incredible. Like, this is so perfect for what I love about reading books. Book 1 and book 2 each have kind of a self-contained story. So you cannot read book 2 without reading book 1. That wouldn't work. But the story in book 1 is kind of self-contained and this is kind of self-contained. And it's kind of like a mystery that they have to solve. I mean, awesome. And by the way, I apologize for my dog. She wants my attention because she wants me to tuck her in right now. But read this series, seriously, completely under the radar on everything. Leslie was the first one that I've heard talking about it. Sarah and I and Leslie and Kate Coy and a couple of others are buddy reading it at the moment, and oh, it's just so good. It's so good. Alrighty, after finishing book 2 in the Risen Kingdoms, I started listening to Winterlight by Kristen Britton, which is book 7 and currently the last available book in the Green Rider series. It's not the last book in the series. We're still waiting for that one to happen. Hopefully book 8. As far as we all know, based on rumors, book 8 is the last one. I'm hoping, because I cannot wait another 3 to 4 years to then get another book. Like, this is just not going to happen anymore. But I started listening to this on audiobook. I'm not done yet. I'm like 20% in at the moment. And yeah, I actually listened to it while I was sanding and staining my new bookshelf last weekend. Something I've never done in my life before. So I thought, you know, if I screwed up, at least I've listened to a good audiobook while I was doing it. I cannot say much since I would spoil the series. If you've never read Green Riders and if you've never been on my channel before, read the series. It's amazing. I'm putting my spoiler-free Green Rider series review that is a bit older, but still very valid and worth watching. I put that up there. Also, I love this cover. And that scene. Oh God, I already know there's going to be tears. Next up, I started reading the books that Ian picked for my TBR this month. One of the books that Ian picked for me was Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which I had been on my TBR for a long time. Well, I mean, this is not as old. It just came out last year, but I had it since then because I've heard so many good things. and the story sounded really interesting. Interestingly enough, the story is kind of not about what the backside says it is. It's kind of a weird thing, and I was really close to DNFing it after reading the first 50 pages because I was like, what is this? After a while, I got into it, and then I got to meet the character Agnes, which I completely fell in love with. She is so heartwarming and such a fascinating character, and the way she is described by Maggie O'Farrell made it kind of really... I don't know how to say that, but I had a good time with her. And then a scene happened that I just could not deal with, and I decided to DNF this book. Not because of I didn't like this book. As I said, I really did like Agnes, but there was just something that happened in there that hit way too close to home. And even though I enjoyed the story so far, and I probably would enjoy the end, there's always this kind of thing that would now hover over my enjoyment of this book that I'm just worried about would throw me out of, really getting through it. Anyway, long story short, it is a good book. So if you're interested, this is a historical fiction. It's about Hamnet, who is, if I understand that correctly, Shakespeare's son. At the beginning, you realize really quickly that his sister has what is it called? The Black Death or Plague or whatever the right wording for that is. I have the German word in my head and I'm forgetting what the correct English phrase is for that. But that she's sick, and that's what I thought the story is about, right? That situation and then onwards. But it then goes back into the past and tells the story of Shakespeare and how he meets Agnes. Hamnet is his son, right? And we hear the story of their parents, and we get a whole bunch of background information, and the chapters switch back and forth through different times. Writing is a bit more flowery, so I would move that more towards the literary category. I didn't always vibe with it. A lot of commas in your sentences, and just sometimes a weird way of saying certain things. It is what it is. It's fine. I'm fine. I just know I will not be able to continue reading this book the way it is. But the cover's pretty. And then the second book that I read from the books Ian picked for me to read is Finlay Donovan is Killing It. So the premise is a woman, she is an author, is sitting with her agent at a Panera Bread, and they are talking about the plot of her next book. And a woman is sitting next to her and kind of overhearing what they are saying, and she mistakes it for being a conversation about a contract killer. So she gives her a note, Finlay that is. So Finlay gets a note saying like, hey, I give you $50,000 if you kill this person. And Finlay's like, what the hell is happening here? Like, why is this even a thing? And then it goes from there. So it's so much fun. I had a lot of laugh out loud moments with this one. Finlay as a character is incredible. She went through a divorce and she's now fighting for custody of her 2 children with her husband who cheated on her with a realtor, and like this whole life and how messy it is. And it's just so well written, and I don't want to say relatable because I don't have children, but relatable in some sense. And it's just fun. Like, this is pure entertainment, but really well written and plotted out entertainment. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm actually really close to picking up the second book that is already out and continuing the series, because that whole miscommunication at its finest, really, in a good way. And just how this all unrolls and what then happens and who she meets while, she deals with all of this is just incredible. This is really, really well written, and I can highly recommend it if you like crime thriller, mystery type books with a little bit of humor, written from a female's perspective and kind of a little bit unexpected. I mean, it was really fun. I had a really good time with this one, and cannot wait to read book 2. All right, so that's what I read. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff happening. So I already talked a little bit about SPSFC number 2. I am a judge this year. I'm leading team Dragons in Space for SPSFC2. We are a total of 8 people. I'll also put down in the description the social media links of my team. There you'll see the link for Ursi's channel, for Amanda's, for Sharon's, for Ian's, for Saros. And then we have 2 members who don't have a YouTube channel, but they have an Instagram and a Twitter, and that's Isaac and Kelly. So I'll leave the information for the entire team down in the description as well, so you can say hi to them and follow their social media. If you want to meet the majority of our group, we are going live on August 27th to do just some reading sprints. You can either read some of the SPSFC picks with us, or you can read a different book while we read those. But just in case you don't know what it is, the self-published science fiction competition is for self-published authors. They can submit their books. We kept it at 300, and then those 300 books are given to various teams. I think we're 10 teams total, so 30 books per team-ish. And then we go through it, and that's what we've just done in the last 2 weeks. We go through it, make sure they're actually eligible for the competition. Like, for example, they have to be a first book in a series. If it is a series or a standalone, they have to be more than 40,000 words, like, a bunch of things. And then each team reads all of these books for about 10 to 20% and then makes a decision of which of those we want to continue reading. So our team has 29 books in total at the moment, and we have till about end of October to read through the first 10 to 20% and then say, okay, do we want to continue reading that or not? And all of us have to do that, and then we will have a score at the end. The top books that have a rating of yes, we want to continue reading, then move into phase 1B is what I'm calling it, where the same team then reads the rest of the book. And then we actually have to score it 1 to 10. And then the top 3 then go into the semi-finalist. And then we're switching things around. That's then phase 2, and phase 2 starts in February. Oh, that was a long explanation. I'll put the links down below in case you're interested to see the rules. And I also put the links down below to the SPSFC website, where you can look into each team and see which books they have assigned. So that's kind of what started. I do have a lot of fun. It's a great team that we have, and I cannot wait for you to meet them and to hear more about all of the books that we're reading. There are definitely some where I'm like, what the F? Okay, I'm really curious about like what's going on here. Definitely go check them out. A lot of them are in Kindle Unlimited if you have a subscription already, so you can actually read them as part of that. More on that as we move along. So the whole SPSFC thing takes till next year, I think June or July, so that you will hear a lot more about it. I think I rambled on enough. I should have made a bullet list with like all the things that I want to tell you about SPSFC. That would have made it like a more cohesive conversation. But hey, that's why this video is called Rambling. I deliver as advertised. If you haven't already, go check out the live video that from where I'm filming it is going to happen tomorrow, but by the time this is going live, that happened already. The live where Jake and I are talking about the 3 remaining Richard Bachman books that we buddy read. It is a spoiler discussion, so be prepared for that. And then on the 27th, come back and join us in our live reading sprint where we will introduce Team Dragons in Space of SPSFC2, and where we will showcase a few of the books that are in our list. If you stuck around that long, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my rambling video and my mid-August catch-up, however we want to call it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and that I see you soon with my next video. Bye!